And I'd like to welcome you all to our travel edition of the Lunch Club, where in July we are doing railroads themed sessions. And inspired by our last session last week on the Underground Railroad, 4th of July, and Harriet Tubman, we'll be learning more about the Pullman Company and its impact on Black history. So Lou, please take it away.
All right, Alex, now I'm thinking you're controlling the slides, right?
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. I'm learning so much. I love the railroads and the history of the railroads. So let's advance to the next slide, Alex.
Great. Have you heard of the Pullman Company before?
I don't know much about it. Yeah, I think everybody has, but I don't know much about it.
Okay. I know some of our seniors on did mention they know or they know someone who may have worked for the Pullman Company as well back 150 years ago, 75 years ago. So I really appreciate y'all coming on. Hmm.
Yeah, and everybody jump in here because we learn as much from you all as you from our slides. So the Pullman Company is established by George Pullman. That's new. He played a significant role in Black history through its widespread hiring of African American men, primarily as porters in its luxury sleeping cars. These
Mhm.
porters, many of whom were former slaves, faced harsh working conditions and racial discrimination. Yet their work contributed to the Great Migration, the development of a Black middle class, and the early stages of the Civil Rights Movement. Wow, that's amazing. You know, Alex, since Ron mentioned that I'm from Detroit, you ought to do something about the automobile industry. I can talk a lot about that. My mom used to be a docent at the Henry Ford Museum, and
Oh,
yeah, and he was responsible for a lot of the creation of the Black middle class uh, through the auto industry. And there's a lot of history with that, how the U.S. auto industry, uh, the impact on Black history. All right, anyway,
I
the
think
history of the railroad dining cars.
no, that's a great idea, Lou. Thank you so much. We'll definitely
Yeah,
have
yeah.
we'll
Look,
definitely do something.
Linen tablecloths, fine china, excellent food, amazing service. Dining by rail used to be offered on trains across America. These days, it's mostly relegated to private and tourist railways that give their visitors a taste of the past. In 1869, 4 short years after the nation had been divided by the Civil War, the United States became more united than ever by the Transcontinental Railroad. And with trains traveling further and further, there were new necessities. The Pullman Car Company created the first comfortable all-night sleeper car in 1865. But if you were traveling far enough to sleep on the train, you would also have to eat. Now, food for travelers by rail was nothing new, but it did have issues. You could jump off the train during a stop and run to one of the questionable diners near the railroad station, but there were reports more than once of these diners serving the food just before the train was ready to depart, leaving plenty of leftovers to be repurposed for the next train full of passengers. Another option was to hang your head out of the train window and purchase from a vendor on the platform. The quality of that food, however, was typically suspect, and once you bought it, you were stuck with it. Travelers sometimes brought their own food aboard the train, but the leftovers left an aroma and sometimes attracted flies. So the best solution was for the railroad to feed its own passengers.
Notice to passengers, this train does not stop for meals. Supper is now ready on Pullman's Palace dining car.
It was in
okay.
oh
1867
wow.
that the Pullman Car Company created the first real dining car with a small kitchen and 2 dining areas. Hopeful of its success, Pullman called it the Delmonico, after the famed New York eatery and family of restaurateurs. Dining cars caught on. Through the remainder of the 1800s and early 1900s, more and more railroads added more and more dining cars, and dinner on the diner became a staple of long-distance rail travel. Railroad historian James Porterfield says by 1930, there were some 1,700 dining cars rolling across the rails in the United States. Dining cars were standardized by the early 1900s and have barely changed. There was a kitchen, typically 7 feet by 20 feet, with a passageway alongside for passengers to move through. The rest of the car was dedicated to tables or booths along each side with an aisle down the center. Standard dining cars seated 36 with 12 tables. That capacity would increase to 48 as cars got bigger. And on trains serving larger numbers, table cars were added and placed adjacent to the diner. In the tight confines of this kitchen, there would be a chef, 2 to 3 assistants, 4 to 6 waiters going in and out, and a steward. That's a lot of staff. Financially, it was a loser. In his excellent histories of railroad dining, E. Gordon Mooneyhand says that for every dollar made by a railroad diner, the railroad would have to spend $1.38. Diners never made money, but in the early 1900s, there was little to differentiate one railroad from another. They all went from point A to point B. The food service, however, could make the traveling experience something truly special. White table linens, fine china, food that highlighted the region specific to that railroad, excellent service. That was something marketing teams for the railroads could sink their teeth into and truly sell a traveling experience. Into the 1920s and 30s, railroad dining cars would rival any fine dining establishment. Except this food was served on wheels, traveling at 80 miles an hour. Fast food indeed. On the Southern Railway, they served Georgia peaches. The Atlantic coastline served Welsh rarebit. Many trains, including Southern and Norfolk and Western's Pelican train, kept prunes on the menu. It was a staple of rail travel. Virginia ham was also a feature.
Beef hash, poached egg, $1. Ham,
Uh,
$1.25. Country style sausage, 90 cents. Eggs, 1 scram, 30 cents. Oh my goodness.
but think how old that is, though, Alex. That's
Mhm.
really expensive for back
Yes,
in the day.
back in the day. But thinking
That
about it
I
now,
mean, those
mm,
are almost the prices, a few 10 years ago, 20 years ago. This
mm,
this video is from like 100 years ago, and that's expensive.
yes, definitely.
Hmm.
Wow.
The Northern Pacific
Clientele
Railroad
was
touted their
mostly
great
middle
baked
class and
potato.
upper middle
The potato
class.
weighing in
Yeah.
at 2 to
They could
5
afford
pounds
it.
with a railroad branded
Even
spoon
nowadays,
and a
train
lot of
food's
butter.
expensive.
The Pennsylvania Railroad offered shoe fly pie, taken from the Pennsylvania Dutch of the region. The Baltimore and Ohio offered the help yourself salad. Server would carry it around in a huge bowl. It was drizzled.
Steak,
Look at
that's
that.
pretty good. But $3.90, oh my goodness. Well, this is like the 1920s, 30s.
Yeah.
I mean, that is expensive for the 20s and
20s.
30s. That's
Mm,
some serious money.
with Catalina dressing and blue cheese. One of
Look
the
at all that
stranger
Maryland
offerings
stuff.
was aboard the Gulf Mobile in Ohio. It was a chicken sandwich with a hard-boiled egg, Thousand Island dressing, and caviar. It was offered for $2.25, or somewhere around $18.50 in today's terms.
18.
With the onset of the Great Depression and the sacrifices of World War II limiting travel and availability of goods, dining cars began to wane. Following the war, when railroads tried to bring them back to their former glory, they found that while Americans were still on the move, more and more often they were on the move by car and not by train. The services were still offered for years to come, but they declined as passenger railroad travel declined.
Hey, Lou.
Yeah.
Um, there's one fact that I became aware of a few years ago is that all of the customers and patrons on these trains, they called all of the workers. They say, "Hey, George."
Mm-hmm.
They called him George because of the name of George Pullman. So they called each and every one of those workers,
George.
"Hey George, get me this," or "Hey George, get me that,"
Mm-hmm.
which
Mm-hmm.
which is one way of looking at it, but another way of looking at it is better than another name they could have said, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mr. Ron, you're so I know
Yeah.
you're so intelligent. We're definitely going to highlight a lot of those things in our session today. But yes, that is one thing that I came across that was yeah, just new. So thank you so much. And anyone else, any thoughts on the video?
Well, I remember my first train ride, and I must have been about 4 years old or 3 years old. I think it was after my daddy died, so I was probably 3. I hadn't made 4 yet, and we went to New Orleans, and it was the Southern. That's what it's called now. I don't remember what it was called back then. It might have been called that, but I remember going to the dining car, and they had fried chicken, and I remember telling my mother that I didn't want to eat that fried chicken because it didn't look like my nana's. So I remember that story.
Oh, wow. Thank you for sharing that experience. Thank you so much, Anne. Someone in the chat asked, how did they clean the fine china or wash the fine china? Well, I'm assuming very carefully because I guess it's very fragile. So that's a good thought. They had to do everything. They had to cook, they had
Mhm.
to clean.
Yeah. By the way, does anybody on this call remember steam trains? Steam,
Just
and that's
pictures of them. I don't remember anybody I ever knew got being on one, but that's not because those people are dead, so I couldn't even ask them.
That was yeah, that was before yeah, that was a while ago, Lou.
Yeah.
no, but I remember seeing them when I was really, really young, and they made such an impression because the smoke coming out of them and the steam, and it was made a huge impression. I
But
mean,
yeah,
the cloud was bigger than the train itself.
Oh yeah.
well, Lou, you do know that Ford had a part in some of the steam trains.
Oh, was he? Well, he had a part in almost everything, it
That
seemed,
Yeah.
right?
man was that he was a very interesting person, and I got those stories from my grandmother.
Oh,
He and Joseph Noel Cognier were friends, and I think I told you the story about he took the first car to Napoleonville. He and his son.
no, I don't remember that story.
Yeah, he bought that. My great grandfather Joseph Noel Cognier owned most of Napoleonville, Louisiana, and he took my grandfather's car. He was the first one that had what they called a motor horse.
Ah, wow.
Yeah, back in the day, they called him a motor horse.
Oh
And
my God.
I remember some of those stories that my grandmother told. And I learned a lot of stories from my Uncle John and my Uncle Alfred because they were boys, of course, and they were interested in that kind of thing. But they said he was a very nice man, and they remember him as a child. And he had money in Dillard University too. I don't know if it was anonymous like some of the other folks, but he had put money into Dillard University, and he also had put money into Howard University.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing, Anne. We really appreciate it.
You know what's interesting, by the way, guys, because this whole area, I mean, think about right now, like what we think is real, what's possible. We're limited by, what's already taken place. Our thinking can't think, beyond what's already taken place. And back in this era, and a lot of this you'll see at the Henry Ford Museum in Detroit, is back in this era, people used to think that power only came from falling water. Like if you look at
Mm-hmm.
Ellicott City with the wheels from the falling water generating power and the mills. I mean, 1,000 years of history, power came from falling water, and that's all people understood. And
Mm-hmm.
so even Henry Ford, when he was designing his factories, he was designing them near waterfalls like Ellicott City in the
Mhm.
beginning because he didn't fully comprehend the power of steam driven electricity. And it is just really interesting, this transition that took place with the railroads and all that kind of stuff, because people's thinking really had to change. You know, where do think, because before that, you know, these things weren't even possible. They were beyond imagination. Anyway, enough of that. Sorry, Alex. Uh-oh, am I muted?
No,
Alex muted me.
it's your turn.
Uh-oh, oh, sorry. Pullman cars. George Pullman's luxurious sleeping cars revolutionized train travel, offering unparalleled comfort and privacy with features like private compartments, plush furnishings, nice, attentive service. The Pullman Company also pioneered vestibule design, creating enclosed passageways between cars for safer, more convenient movement. Interesting. The delights of Pullman dining in the USA, 1866 to 1968. Wow. So let's see what we got here. Oh my gosh, this is amazing.
I'm
The
gonna check
delights of
the link in the chat here, but this is from the Pullman Museum. So this is more examples of menus. Pic
Alex. Where's the Pullman Museum, Alex?
I'm not sure. I just shared the link here in the chat. So here's some additional pictures. So look at that, B&O, 1934.
Oh my, it's our neck of the woods.
Mhm.
Wow.
29, peak year, Pullman carried 33 million first-class passengers in 9,000 Pullman cars or 90,000 a night in over 137 railroads. So 100 years ago, 33 million first-class passengers. That's amazing.
Where is Pullman from? Like, I wonder if he left behind a big estate or stuff like that. Like, I wonder where this company was located.
Well, we have a lot more videos, so I'm sure that they will share some more information. Here's
Okay.
another menu, May 19th, 1866.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
Mhm.
Look at
This
the
is what-
ad. Vanilla, lemon, strawberry ice cream. Whoa, lemon ice. And back then, ice cream, I don't think they had refrigeration. I think it came from ice.
Yeah, they made it in a with a crank and a wooden thing that made a crank.
Made
Oh
them
my.
in ice cream
Big
chunk.
shacks. Yeah, they were in a there was like a wooden or metal. Well, they came to be metal, but at original ones were wooden.
Where you refrigerated it?
They were called churn. They left them packed in the salty
Okay.
ice.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that to make it, yeah, stay check read this, Lou, for us. This is interesting.
Yeah, these 1876, wow, chromolithographed trade cars filling your business name and message in the white space were printed by L. Prague and Company of Boston, who also printed the first U.S. Christmas cards. Collectors relished them for extravagant meals promised aboard Pullman cars.
Mm-hmm.
I would have loved to receive one of these. They look so nice.
The
Yeah.
museum is in Chicago.
Oh
Oh, the
yeah,
Pullman.
Chicago.
Yeah,
Thank you. Yeah, Chicago Northwestern Railway. I see that here as well.
yeah.
It's a lot. Look, hotel cars. Look at this. Pullman Palatial Drawing Room.
Brenda, see if you can find out where he's from. Like, where does his fortune all go?
Okay.
By the way, refrigerators were built in 1834, so that literally around the time that the Pullman cars and were really, but the General Electric monitor ones didn't come out until the 20s. So yes, that salt ice, to be able to refrigerate items was definitely used.
He,
Meals $1. That.
he's
That's
from
it.
Brockton, New York.
Brockton. I wonder if I'd be curious if he left behind because clearly this guy made a lot of
Brockton, New
money.
York. I never heard of Brockton, New York.
They
Oh,
re-
What?
look,
his,
Paris,
his,
Pennsylvania.
his family relocated to Albion, New York.
Oh, y'all ever go to Harrisburg? You see those, you still see the concrete pilings. The bridge is gone, but you see the concrete pilings in the river there.
Mm-hmm. That's where my dentist family relocated to.
To Harrisburg?
Mm-hmm.
That seems like a nice town.
It's a very nice place.
Look at this right here. Theodore Roosevelt Pullman menu. Tour of the president through the Northwest.
Oh my gosh, look at that. Beef broth,
Thank-
lake trout, prime rib. Oh my gosh.
Chicken croquettes sound really good.
Mhm.
Peach Charlotte. Don't know, I don't even know what that is. Uh, marmalade. Wow, nice.
And Canton ginger. Never heard of that.
Wow.
Wa-
Theodore Roosevelt.
Bent,
Going on me too.
Bent's water crackers. Ha ha ha. How
Wow.
amazing, right? So again, more examples. They have menus with pictures. Yeah,
Wow.
this a lot. Look at this picture right here. World War One doughboys dine in converted wooden sleeper.
Oh, that would work.
Oh wow, this car was converted into a sleeper car. And you see
That
that mm,
that would work. So on both sides, they got the rows of. That doesn't look so bad compared to.
1932 newly built Pullman restaurant car, West Virginia, ready for service. Wow.
Wow.
See, and look at the worker.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Hey, Lou, it says in Pullman's will, he bequeathed 1.2 million to establish the Pullman Free School of Manual Training for the children of employees of the Pullman Palace Car Company and
Oh
its
wow.
residents of the neighboring Roseland community.
So yeah,
Oh.
So
the
yeah,
money's for service. That's wonderful.
yeah.
Look, thank you so much, Brenda. I love that.
Sure.
Upstairs service, 1930s. Look, the worker, and you see the patrons.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. 1930, so 100 years ago. What we have quite a few left, but this is World War II now. This is what a car kitchen looked like. Oh wow. 30s. That's when refrigeration was really in really modern. Look at the
Mm-hmm.
old school kitchen.
Oh, that looks like a refrigerator right there, isn't it?
Yeah.
That big
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Storage, there's the gas. Wow. 4/19/1932, April 19th.
Oh, look at that. Look at that stove. Is that a coal stove? Look at those compartments.
Mhm. I
Look at
think it looks like it is, or
Or a
probably.
yeah.
wooden one.
A wooden fired
it-
stove, yeah.
it- mm.
Does any of you all remember the wooden fired stoves? I remember my grandma had one.
Yeah. My great grandmother had one in the
Oh,
house.
oh
Mm-hmm.
wow.
Cooked on them myself.
You cook
Hey,
really? You cooked on it yourself?
Yep,
I was too
Nice.
cooked
little
on.
to cook.
That's what the kind of stove we had.
That's
I cooked.
nice.
Mm-hmm.
Look
Yeah,
at
that's what they had in Mansour and in um Napoleonville.
Was it with wood?
Yeah, it was a wooden stove. And then they had a metal one where you put wood in it.
And they
Okay.
had
Yeah, we had
oven,
that
night
one,
oven,
and
and
my
everything.
grandmother
Mhm.
had one in uh Fairmont Heights. It was
Oh
black,
wow.
Oh,
a black
wow.
top
Uh,
that was low,
Mm-hmm.
and you open the little
1920s
grate in the front.
to the 50s.
Wow,
Look at
look at
this
that. Look at that.
pineapple.
Whoa, that's some beautiful.
Oh,
I
That's
would
some
love to
beautiful.
eat. Look at the indentation on
Oh,
the
It looks
plate.
like
beautiful.
that looked like some
Mm-hmm.
china they had on the train.
Well,
it
yeah,
looks like
this is 1920s through 50s.
Mm-hmm.
Roosevelt pattern, Luxembourg pattern, hollowware, Indian tree pattern china.
Mm,
Your different spoons, your soup spoon.
beautiful.
It's I would love to do this.
Yeah, that plate is for people that don't like their food to touch.
Oh,
Yeah,
but yes, you can. Yeah, this document has a lot of great info.
oh,
So I
who are the president? Scroll down to the presidents. Are there other people we recognize? Right there, right there. George Pullman was a founder, so he's 30 years. Robert Lincoln, I
yeah,
think that's President Lincoln's son.
yeah,
Fun.
yeah. Earlier in the document, they talked about that.
That is so cool. Reynolds, I don't know who he is. Carey, I don't know who that is. Crawford, Carroll Harding. I wonder if that's President Harding's affiliation. George Bohannon, I don't know who that is. Commissary, I'm sure I don't know anybody there. All right, well, that's really cool. Robert Lincoln?
Yeah,
Wow.
Robert Lincoln. I hope you all check out the link in the chat to read through the details, okay?
I don't think there's any living heirs of Lincoln at all. I think they're all dead. He left. There's no living heirs.
Are you sure, Lou?
I think
They're,
so.
they're,
I think I
they're,
read that. Like they're all dead. Like all of his sons, they didn't have kids or something. I was really surprised by that. Like there's 0 heirs of Abraham Lincoln. I'm pretty sure. Now, wouldn't bet
yeah,
on it.
he died in 85.
No,
Yeah.
there aren't any. It says there are no living direct descendants of Lincoln alive
Yeah.
today.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. So it's been 40 years without a Lincoln living.
And he died in 1985.
Yeah,
Who was it? What was his name?
That was Robert.
Robert Lincoln. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure it's not the same one as
Oh
the
no,
Pullman.
just the name stuck.
Oh no. I'm sorry. He died in 1926. Right.
No,
Yeah,
no,
well,
I
that's
see
amazing.
Robert died in 1985 without any children. So it's been 40 years since we've had a Lincoln living.
That's amazing, isn't it? I mean, you'd think that you'd have more and more and more, but not in his case.
No, he only had one son. I think that's what it says here. But
Right. That was his last direct descendant, Robert Todd Lincoln Beckwith. He died in 1985.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all had a lot of kids.
Mm.
All right. So employment of African Americans in challenging working conditions. The Pullman Company became a major employer of Black men, particularly as porters in its luxurious sleeping cars, also known as Pullman cars. Pullman porters worked long hours, faced low pay, and were subjected to constant racism, often being addressed as oh my gosh, you're right, Ronald. Ron, George, regardless of their actual name. All right, Alex, cue it up.
Begins to change seats into beds.
They were pioneers, a new kind of worker for the new age of train travel.
How long were you a Pullman car porter?
35 years.
What year did you begin?
1941. I was cutting the road.
Linus Scott, now 98 years old, was one of 20,000 Pullman porters.
Some good days and some bad days. But you take the good with the bad.
They were all African-American men, hired by luxury sleeper car innovator George Pullman soon after the Civil War to cater to the demands of well-heeled travelers.
They had spent their entire life doing what their masters had told them, and what George Pullman envisioned was when they went out on the rail cars, they would do the same things for his customers.
Many earned only $1 a day, working long hours with very little sleep.
3 hours a night.
So you worked 21 hours and you slept 3?
That's right.
But they made tips, saving each dime and dollar, creating the foundation of the Black middle class and a better life for their children.
All started from Pullman. That's where it started from.
But Pullman porters also influenced social change after A. Philip Randolph founded the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters, the nation's first black labor union.
Why you going? Why you hit it?
When Rosa Parks was arrested in 1955, her first call was to her boss, a Pullman porter named E.D. Nixon.
While the men who wore the uniform were laying the foundation for the black middle class, the black labor movement, and the civil rights movement, they were sometimes denigrated in media stereotypes.
On stage and in movies, Pullman porters were often caricatured, their professionalism ridiculed.
Boy, what a crap game I could have with this.
Today, fewer than 100 porters are still alive. Amtrak has spent the last year celebrating their historic contributions.
The Pullman porter was one of the leaders. He was one of the leaders, you know.
Make you feel pretty proud, doesn't it?
Yes.
A proud life on the rails, which created a lasting legacy. Randall Pinkston, CBS News, Chicago.
That was a really interesting video.
That's interesting. How long ago was that? It looks like 2009, I think I saw.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. So this video is like 15 years ago.
I wonder if there's any left. Brenda, you're our lady.
Probably not.
Okay, let me see.
Oh, it's I highly doubt it, but it's
there's
59?
a gentleman in New Orleans who's 103 years old this year. He
And he
used to
was a
be a
porter.
mm-hmm.
Is he
oh
the last
wow.
one left? The
Well,
last
I don't
one?
know if he's the last one, but I know he's. I really know he's in New Orleans because
Mr. James Beats in the bed.
married. He was married to a friend of my grandmother's.
Mhm.
Oh, all right.
After the Civil War, Chicago businessman George Pullman began hiring thousands of African American men, including many formerly enslaved people, to serve white passengers traveling across the country on his company's luxury sleeping cars. The need for labor created employment opportunities for African Americans, and the first Pullman porters began working on the trains around 1867. The men worked long hours in passenger cars that they were not allowed to travel in due to Jim Crow segregation laws. The Pullman Palace Car Company built, owned, and operated the majority of luxury rail cars. These opulent trains were dubbed hotels on wheels due to onboard social activities, dining cars, and sleeping berths. Pullman was open about his reasons for hiring black porters. He reasoned that formerly enslaved people would best anticipate and cater to his customers' needs and work long hours for cheap wages. By the 1920s, 20,224 African Americans were working as Pullman porters and train personnel, the largest category of black labor in the United States and Canada. While they were underpaid, overworked, and endured constant racism, Pullman porters helped fuel the Great Migration, shaped the black middle class, and laid the groundwork for the civil rights movement. Their duties included carrying baggage, shining shoes, maintaining the sleeping berths, and serving meals. In some cases, they were required to perform for customers. Porters were at the beck and call of the passengers and were under constant scrutiny, expected to give service with a smile, but not so friendly that they may be accused of impropriety or disingenuous conduct. Passengers used the derogatory terms "boy," hailing from enslavement, or "George," after the founder George Pullman, instead of the porters' names, exerting power and a sense of ownership over the men. Porters endured long hours, with passengers frequently boarding and detraining at stations throughout the night. Porters were required to work 400 hours, or 11,000 miles per month, whichever came first, to receive their full salary, and often relied on tips to make a decent wage. Porters could be required to work shifts up to 20 hours long to make up their 400-hour monthly minimum. They also had to pay for their food, do unpaid prep duties, and purchase their uniforms. Despite routine discrimination, Pullman porters were well-traveled, knowledgeable, and had regular contact with politicians and other wealthy clients. They had their finger on the pulse of American society. The porters had an alliance with 5 prominent African-American newspapers and transported vital information to black communities. The Western Appeal from St. Paul, Minnesota was one of the first newspapers to report on the Pullman porters.
Alex, did it stop?
No, just taking in the newspaper.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
It became the official publication of the United Brotherhood of Railway Porters. The porters organized and founded the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters in 1925 with A. Philip Randolph, who advocated for improved working conditions and salaries. The BSCP was the first African American labor union to sign a collective bargaining agreement with a major corporation. The union also included black female maids who were expected to babysit white children in addition to their cleaning duties. BSCP
Homemade, they call it maids.
In addition to their cleaning duties, BSCP faced staunch opposition from the Pullman Company, and it took more than a decade for the union to sign a labor agreement. In 1937, after 12 years of resistance and negotiations, the BSCP was recognized as the official union of the Pullman Porters. Their victory helped to lay the foundation for the united efforts of black workers and labor unions during the civil rights movement.
Every time I see an engine coming down the track, I get so doggone lonesome that I wish I was back. Listen to the whistle, lordy, lordy, what a thrill.
Yep, this video is from the Jim Crow Museum. And again, 20-hour work days, $1 a day. I mean, that's so terrible.
That was horrible.
From videos like indescribable.
Yeah. You know what? Google says there are no George Pullman workers still alive today. They said because they started in their teens and early 20s. And if they were, they would be well over 100 today.
Yeah.
So
Oh, it says
they're
there's
no
none.
more,
There's
they're no
none
more
alive.
alive.
Virtually
Oh.
none. Yeah.
Thanks for that, Brenda.
Yeah.
Mm.
Again, they our history precedes us. We're so blessed in so many ways.
Absolutely.
You know, Alex, it's got me thinking about like exploited groups around the world. How much this stuff still happens today. I did a project years ago in Honduras and El Salvador in the garment industry, and how this is Central America, and there's factories have no airflow in them. It's 100 degrees inside, forced to work these crazy hours. A lot of folks commute from rural villages, so it's like 2 hours to get into the city and 2 hours to get back, and then long hours. And it's like this history of. But what's interesting when we talk to them, when we talk to these people, so the goal of the project was to try to give them alternatives to this kind of labor. This textile industry is notorious for doing this to people. But when we talked to them, they said that doing that was better than the alternative. And the alternative was starvation. And you often hear that in any part of the world where this takes place, that the alternative these folks have often is starvation. And just wanted to throw that out there, because this stuff still happens. Anyway, all right. Oh, my turn. Sorry. Contributions to the Great Migration and development of a Black middle class. The Pullman porters, by traveling across the country, provide a crucial link for Black communities and help facilitate the Great Migration, where African Americans moved from the rural South to urban areas in the North and the West. Relatively stable income and opportunities from networking provided by the porter jobs allowed many Black men to save money, educate their children, and transition to their professions, contributing to the growth of a Black middle class. Pawn Stars, Gilded Age of Pullman Train. Sorry, Alex, I'm trying to absorb all this stuff.
A friend of mine, Derek, gave me a call and said he has something that's way too big to bring in the shop, and said I might not necessarily want it, but if I could sell it for him, maybe there's a little something for me in the deal.
Hey, Rick, how you doing?
Doing good, man. What's going on?
Thanks for coming by.
These are amazing.
So here's the story. We just bought this property. I don't know anything about trains, so you're the first guy I had to call.
Well, they're private cars. I mean, these things were like the G5 of the day. Can I look at it?
Sure.
I mean, it looks real cool. Did you pay extra for the trains?
No, it came with the property. I'm Derek Stevens, and I'm the owner of the D Las Vegas Hotel.
Yeah, in the mid to late 19th century, wealthy individuals had finally furnished rail cars custom built for cross-country travel. Furnished rail cars were also used by politicians during their whistle-stop campaign tours.
Casino. We were a little surprised that the property came with 2 trains, but if they're worth something of substance, then yeah, I'd love to sell them. We're going to be building on this property here, so these trains have to go somewhere. The most important thing is they've got to go to the right home.
Wow. I mean, I drove by this thing a million times. I never thought it was like this inside. Yeah, this is like literally one of the ultimate displays of wealth back in the day. This was the Rockefellers, the Astors. It was like right around 1900, because you can sell that Victorian style with the velvet. Everything's tufted, the gold roping and everything else like that. The more opulent, the better. This was $10 million in today's money. It really was. That's most likely a bed right there that pops out of the wall.
Oh, wow. 1862, trains featured electric lighting, heating, and AC.
Wow.
But by 1862, so
1862, they had AC. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
The staff, that's where they would sleep. They're really wealthy. They would bring along their own cook. They would bring along some servants. You have a desk right here. You would have like guys
most U.S. homes didn't have electricity until the 1930s. Wow.
that you're involved with business. Can I see the rest of it?
Yeah, come on.
This thing's like the size of a 747 almost. There's a bedroom. I mean, this is really, really impressive. There's probably a handle somewhere. You can take this another bed that would come down. It wouldn't surprise me. The couch also turned into a bed. I mean, you had your own bathroom, which is, I imagine, a lot nicer than the ones they had for the general public. Another really cool thing is that it's 110 volt AC. They were still competing between DC and AC at the time. So before you plug something in, you better know what you're plugging in. Next room.
We got the formal.
You had to think about which plug you could plug in and AC versus
Yeah.
DC.
It's amazing.
Dining room over here.
Wow. This is this thing has just been sitting in downtown Las Vegas. You walk inside and you're literally walking 110 years in the past.
You think you can get $1 million for these two?
I have no idea. I mean, the thing is, you can't just look up and see what the last one sold for. But I do have some pretty wealthy clients that are into train stuff. So, do you mind if I call a buddy of mine, Mark Patton? He runs Clark County Museum.
That'd be great.
Just so he give me some more info, so when I go to shop this thing, I might sort of sound like I know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of intriguing things about this car. Everything from the pieces on the car to the whole car. So, I want to find out more about it, but I think I can make money off this thing. A guy I know is trying to sell some Gilded Age train cars. And if I can find a buyer for him, I get a piece of the action. So before I start going through my Rolodex, I really need Mark Patton to tell me a lot more about these things.
Hey, Rick.
Mark!
How you doing? Nice.
How's it going?
He looks like he would know
Nice to meet
about
you.
trains.
Derek has acquired the Pullman car. Well, I think it's a Pullman car.
Yes, it is a Pullman car. I have looked at these from the street many times. You know, Pullman did a lot of different kinds of cars. They did passenger cars and all of that. It was a car manufacturing company, but they did these executive cars. And this one, in fact, was built in 1902 for the president of the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy Railroad.
So have you ever been inside this car?
No, I haven't. Do you mind if I take a look around in it?
Yeah,
Go
please.
ahead.
Oh, thank you. The modern equivalent of one of these cars would be like a very high-end private jet. You did want to have your bed connected to the wall, just in case you had to stop fast. You lived in this, you had...
Look at that bed.
Mm-hmm.
On the train.
Wow.
Gold,
Nice one.
gold headboard or whatever that's called. Oh my goodness.
had servants, the kitchen. You had a cook on board. You met with your colleagues and other business partners. If you were getting a little chilly, you could turn up the heat. This was an
Heating.
enclosed office building, in effect, on rails. This is nice. The car is beautiful. I mean, it's in surprisingly nice shape for having just sat out in the air here for decades. There's a few things that are a little more modern than it would have been originally. That doesn't matter. This is just a very nice car.
So this wasn't a conversion.
No, no,
You
it
got a
wasn't.
lot of brass
me a great start.
fixtures.
Thank you. And thanks for showing me. This
Mark,
is
thanks
really
a lot.
cool. We'll see you.
I might be calling you some more on this.
It is
That's fine.
surprising how much
There
original
are actually
stuff is
people
on it.
that use these cars today, that buy them and restore them and then will pay to hook them onto a freight train or something as a way of going across the country and recreating a lifestyle that's
Wow.
long gone.
You could do it. You
I
could
didn't. I think I
attach
told
your
you.
own.
Well, I appreciate
car.
it.
I just really just so nerding out on this thing. I absolutely love it. Like this thing even still works. To actually buy this thing and store this thing somewhere would cost a fortune, and it's way too much of a risk. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and find a buyer. I'm going to have that buyer go direct to Derek, and I'm going to make a little money in the middle.
Mr. Brown and I got
Oh, interesting.
I like Pawn Stars, so this was a cool episode.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That was a lot of great fun facts about the heating, the AC, the information. Hope you guys enjoyed.
That
Yeah.
really was the cutting edge of everything, wasn't it? It's like
Mhm.
he
Yeah,
says, like
it was that was fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh.
Mhm.
I wonder who owns the Southern Trail Railroad now. It used to go from here to New Orleans. It used to have cars on it and you know, dining cars and sleeping cars and
what's the name of it? I can Google
it was the Southern it was the Southern Railroad at one time. I don't know what it's called now or who owns it or where it was, but it used to leave here. It used to take 17 to 19 hours. It still takes a long time on the train.
I'm Googling it right now.
Yep.
Norfolk Southern Railway. Southern Railway is referred to a few different entities, but most likely it's the Norfolk Southern Railway. Formed in 1982 through the merger of the Norfolk and Western Railway and the Southern Railway. Oh,
Yeah.
so it was Norfolk Southern Railway is a subsidiary of Norfolk Southern Corporation. The Alabama Great Southern Railroad is also a subsidiary of Norfolk Southern. So I guess the answer is Norfolk Southern Railway.
I don't know but I know that it was something Southern, and it used to leave out a Union Station in the at night, and you'd get to Louisiana the next day.
Wikipedia has something called the Southern Railway. There is something called the Southern Railway Company.
Lou, could I
Yep.
say something? This is Gracie.
Hey,
I
Gracie.
lived in Georgia, and all I remember is the Southern Railway you're talking about. And it came down the middle of our street, the railroad. We lived on one side and people lived on the other side. And whenever they would stop for a break, they stopped in the area of our homes. And the people would come out and talk to us and give us candy. And they had a black entertainer on there. I don't know whether it was Jelly Roll or somebody that was traveling at this one time. And they would come out and let us ask them questions and about the jobs. And they were very friendly people. And I lived there about 10 years, and they stopped for those 10 years, and most of the time they would stop for a break right in the front of my house. And I got a chance to talk to a lot of those black porters and stuff that would come out in the back and talk to us and tell us different things.
Well, that's a fascinating story. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you so much.
As I'm researching, you're both right. There was the Southern Railway.
Mm-hmm.
And it was,
now I remember that.
Yeah.
and
Hey,
it was.
Lou, we have about 5 minutes, by the way. So,
Okay, 1894 to 1982. In 1982, it merged with the Norfolk to become Norfolk Southern. But before that, it was the Southern Railway. You're right. All right, Alex, let's keep her going here. I'm a little lost in all my screens that are open right now. Okay, I'm back. Early civil rights activism. The Pullman Porters formed the first all-black union, the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters, which played a vital role in the early civil rights movement. The Pullman strike of 1894.
Today in the Daily Dose, the Pullman strike of 1894. During the Panic of 1893, engineer-industrialist George Pullman laid off hundreds of workers employed by his Pullman sleeping car company, slashing wages to his remaining workforce by 30%. Furthering the hurt to his remaining employees, Pullman refused to lower rents and store prices in the company town of Pullman, some 15 miles south of downtown Chicago, obliging the entirety of his workforce to walk off their jobs in May of 1894. A month later, in a show of solidarity with Pullman workers, the American Railway Union, led by labor activist Eugene Debs, boycotted any train employing Pullman's luxury sleeping cars, effectively halting all rail traffic and commerce in 27 states west of Chicago. Officials from the General Managers Association, which represented Chicago-based railroad companies, petitioned the federal government to shut down the strike. And while labor unions were a major constituency of the Democratic Party, to show federal support of labor unions, Democratic President Grover Cleveland encouraged Congress to pass legislation in June, making the first Monday in September the legal holiday of Labor Day. The federal government's gesture failed to quell the violence that followed, when on June 29th, buildings and locomotives were set ablaze during a speech by Debs at Blue Island, Illinois, prompting U.S. Attorney General Richard Olney to seek a federal injunction against the strike and its leadership. A day later, Cleveland ordered federal troops to Chicago, despite angry protests from Illinois' pro-labor governor John Peter Altgeld. who had already ordered state militia troops to control the destructive actions of striking workers. Despite the governor's stance that Cleveland's orders were unconstitutional, on July the 6th, rioters destroyed hundreds of rail cars in South Chicago's sprawling rail depot, leading to a July 7th bloodbath when National Guardsmen opened fire on the angry mob, killing an estimated 70 strikers while injuring 57 others. While the strike was declared over in early August, leading to Deb's arrest and 6-month imprisonment, the bloody struggle between labor and capital marked a period of rising public awareness of America's labor movement, which became a foundational element of the Progressive era, making the Pullman strike of 1894 a major uptick in federal oversight of a nation's economic and social equity. And there you have it, the Pullman strike of 1894, today on the Daily Dose. If you enjoyed this show,
Any thoughts, folks? Any thoughts about the video?
The connection to Pullman and Labor Day, never knew.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is fascinating.
When they mentioned Pullman, Illinois, a city named Pullman, I Googled it, and yeah, there's a National Historic Park south side of Chicago. It's actually part of Chicago now.
Mm-hmm.
They said it was the first company town in the United States, first planned company town. All
Well,
right, Alex,
Lou,
we are
any
running.
final thoughts? Any final, some great new things you learned? Any overall thoughts and from you, Lou, and then our seniors before we end for today?
Oh, is that the last video, Alex?
Yeah, we're right.
Short
We're right on time. Oh, well, here you go. Here's your conclusion.
Alex, I don't think I've ever ended on time. This is a first in 2 years. The Pullman Company, despite its history of exploitation, inadvertently fostered a sense of community, upward mobility, and activism among African Americans. The Pullman Porters' experiences in the Union laid the groundwork for the future civil rights advancements.
Mhm.
So, Alex, that's a very well prepared presentation. I'm just in awe of you. You put a lot of thought and effort into it. I learned so much. Thank you so much. Any thoughts from others?
It was very interesting. I was wondering if Pullman owned the trains that are running now are subsidiaries of what he started.
Well, Amtrak did that celebration of those workers in one of those videos.
Yeah, I was wondering because, and I wonder what if the porters that are working now are in the same type of union that he started.
Oh, well, and use that Safari. Check it out before our 1:30 and see what you can find. I'm glad today inspired you to want to learn more.
Well, I love trains. I love trains. I I was on plenty of them because I used to travel on them before Mommy decided that flying was quicker and made us have more time. I loved being on the train.
Thank you so much, Anne. Any other last thoughts from anyone else?
Hi, Alex. I just want to thank you all so much. This is Stephanie. This was just absolutely fascinating. Is there any way that we can watch it again?
Oh, well, Miss Stephanie, again, we have our YouTube channel. I would check it out. This will be posted on our YouTube channel in a few days or so. It's just like some of the other ones that you've been on. I'll be sure to also send that your way as well. Okay.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you for attending.
You're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
It brought back this is Gracie. It brought back a lot of memories to me because we had as a child, it was pleasant to be able to see the people, when they would stop near the yard, and they were so friendly, and they would talk with you and tell you about anything you wanted to know, places. And like I said, there was a black entertainer on one of the trains, and I can't think of his name, but maybe the older children might remember. But he danced for us on the back of the train, came out, and they told us about, stage. Well, we asked questions like most children would ask about their lifestyle. And we saw what we considered was middle-class Black people, you know. They weren't poor like us. They would dress nice, and sometimes they'd ask us to get them like water, and we'd bring water up to the train and stuff like little things like that. They would give us candy or something like that. It was nice. So that brought back a lot of those pleasant memories about the train crossing, you know, our yards like that.
Oh, I love that, Gracie. You definitely inspired and kept them workers going. And yeah, no, it was good to see you know, someone working real hard, you know, an inspirational figure, especially as a kid. So I know it influenced you in your life
Yep.
by meeting them. So thank you so much for sharing that.
And you know, 295 was train tracks up until the middle of the 60s.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, wow.
The train used to stop right at the end of Clay Street, the 3400 block. The circus train, the fairs and everything that had trains used to stop right at the end of Clay Street and walk up and walk and go over to what is now the parking lot for the market.
Okay, yeah.
And the
I love
Pepco they
that.
used to bring coal into Pepco on those trains.
Thank
Oh,
you so much
wow.
for sharing that. And yes, that again, I hope that inspired everyone to, you know, think about trains, learn more about trains, but also see how it delves into all parts of history. So thank you all so much for the kind words. And let's all thank Lou so much for his wonderful hostings today. And we will see you all at 1:30 today. Make sure everyone that's on right now, please come on at 1:30. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
All right. Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you so much for this. Thank you so
Bye.
much.
See you in all in 30 minutes. Thanks, Alex.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all.
All righty.
And
Take care.
Brenda, great
I
research.
do.
Ron,
See
Grace,
you
everybody.
soon.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Bye,
Thank
everybody.
Bye,
Thank you
and
so much.
thank
all.
you.
It was wonderful.
Love this.
Thank you.
Thank
See you
you.
soon. See you soon, everyone.
All right.